setup of the school network. And in this brief introduction, I'll show you some general aspects of the network, how to access the data, and some basic information about waveforms and seismological processing. So, I think you can all see the presentation.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're all doing great. First we'll begin with a brief introduction to our network. And we'll see how our stations are set up. We have real-time data stations and a few dial-up stations. And we'll see how we process our data and how we convert our data to the two basic seismological data formats. And finally, we'll see the output of the data, how these data are carried to our screens, how we process them using seismological software, and how we send the automatic SMS systems, messages, and much more. The basic idea is that we have a network of schools where we have installed seismometers. These seismometers operate in real time, most of them, and send their data to our server at NOAA. This is done in most stations through a private VPN network in which all schools are connected. So our server at NOAA, at the National Observatory of Athens, collects the data, processes them. It is able to issue automatic earthquakes and alerts, and gives access to our web page portal for the users to download the data. So this is two maps. The one at the top of the corner shows the network of the project of the school network. We have one station in Azores, and most stations are located in Italy, Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey, and Cyprus. And we have also one dial-up station in Israel. So this is another view of the network. As you can see, we have detailed information of the data that are coming into our server. We can count the velocity of the signal received. This is real time. And it's stations that have a red triangle on top of it. It means that a new arrival has been detected by our automatic system, which we'll see in greater detail later. So as far as it concerns the schools, most schools are provided with Raspberry Shakes, as you can see. The Raspberry Shakes are commercial devices, are sold as it is. They contain an integrated system called the SysCom3. The SysCom3 system, it uses a protocol which is one of the official protocols for seismological data exchange, which is called the seedling protocol. The seedling protocol is responsible for transmitting the data real time between our stations our school stations, and the center at NOAA. Except from the Raspberry shakes, we have developed some custom devices, which are called the TC1 seismometers. The TC1 seismometers are sold. They used to be sold. It is an analog seismometer, which is connected to a Raspberry Pi. The difference between Raspberry Pi and the Raspberry Shake is that the Raspberry Shake is a seismometer as it is. It contains in the box a Raspberry Pi and an analog seismometer. But the Raspberry Pi, it's sold as it is, separately, and can connect to analog devices, and using some codes, a program, we can get the data from the TC1 seismometer and send it to our servers. And also we have some stations which are running just a TC1 seismometer. They are not real time, and we connect it to them from time to time and retrieve their data. They're running software which is called JAMA-Size. JAMA-Size is a software which can accept many sources, many seismometers, and display their data, and also save their data in various formats. As far as it concerns NOAA, the basic operations, the basic processing is done using the seismological package Seiscom3. Seiscom3 is free as far as it concerns just the real-time acquisition. The Seiscom3 gathers all the data using the Seedling protocol, which then can be visualized in our site. And at the right, you can see an earthquake recording from a TC1 seismometer, as it is, has been recorded in our data server. In this screen, you can see the real-time data coming to our servers. As you can see, there's an earthquake going on, so all the arrivals can be seen. And as you can notice, there are some red lines with a P in the right of them. The P is for the P phase picking, automatic picking. This means that our automatic system tries to locate the earthquakes. So in order to do that, it runs an algorithm, an STA over LTA algorithm, which tries to detect peaks and associates them. As you can see, at the right of the screen, the incoming earthquake has been located. You can see the piece in the front of the earthquake, which means that the system was able to detect the earthquake and locate him. So after locating the earthquake, we have an automatic solution, but then we can also try to process manually and revise the earthquake to get a better solution. So the basic aspect of revising an earthquake is to be able to distinguish its two basic features. First is the arrival of the earthquake, which means the time that the earthquake has been recorded. So in order to estimate the exact time of the earthquake, we need to detect its first phase. The first phase of an earthquake, it's called the P phase. As you can see, we have detected the P phase, which is in the start of the seismogram. The P phase carries the smallest energy of the earthquake, and it is the less destructive. In order to have a better estimate of the earthquake, must be able to detect also its second phase, which is called the S phase. It's the phase with the more energy, and it is the more destructive phase, which carries the most distraction. So using this tool, which is included in the SASCOM3, we are able to do our picking. Picking the P phase is easy, but picking the S phase requires experience, and it is usually done by seismologists. So after we are done picking our phases, in this case, we pick just the P phase. In order to locate the earthquake, we don't need the S phase, we just need the P phase. The S phase is required in order for a better estimation of the depth of the earthquake and of the magnitude of the earthquake also. So after we do our picking, we have a solution of the earthquake. As you can see, it is located near Zakynthos. And our automatic, our software will take our picks and it will locate the earthquake for us. We don't need to care how the program locates the earthquake. There are a lot of methods for earthquake locations. So the solution will be issued. And it's worth noticing that in each case we have an automatic alert, like the one you saw. An automatic SMS message is sent also to everyone interested in participating in the development of the software, which was responsible for the ελληνογερμανική αγωγή and Antonova. And this warning can be transferred to schools. So we have a very good alert procedure. So you can see here the two locations. At the left, there is the location of the earthquake using the school network. And at the right, there is the location of the official seismologists from NOAA. And as you can see, both magnitude and locations are very similar to each other, meaning that our network coverage is good enough and able to distinguish large events and record them appropriately. Now, for persons that they are interested in getting seismological data and trying to process them, there are a lot of tools available. One of the most useful is the one called Swarm. The Swarm is a free software which will be presented to you in another time in great detail, that allows you to download data from our portal or even process them real time, again from our portal. And you can locate earthquakes in Swarm, calculate magnitudes, and save your results and view them in maps. There's a lot of training materials for Swarm at our website, snac.games, snac.noaa.gr, with videos, tutorials, and other stuff. So, two words for the data that are created in our network. The basic format, seismological format for data archiving, it's called miniseed. So all data are saved in this format. Another very popular seismological format is called SAC. So SAC and miniseed are two seismological formats in which these formats are supported by Swarm. Swarm can open these files and process their data. And also we have conversion utilities that we can convert data from SAC format to miniseed and vice versa. Our website is snac.gate.noa.gr, which offers a lot of useful tools in order to view our data and process them. We have an interactive map of all the stations. If you click in one station, you will get a real-time plot of the data. We have a database of recordings, so you can search for the station that you're interested using a date, and you will instantly get a waveform of the day of the recording. We have an online status where we can monitor our stations, and we have a data portal. The data portal for the time being is only available through VPN for registered schools and users. This data portal is compatible with FDSN web services. The FDSN web services are a global protocol which allows access to data using specific criteria. So using this function in our site, you are able to download data from any period that you are interested in. Also, there is an interactive map available where all large earthquakes are saved there, and there is a link available to download the data. The data are downloaded as a zip file and contain all the available stations that took part of the automatic solution in Snac format. So if you visit this page and you click on the link, on the data you like, and you are registered, you can download the data in Snac format, open them with Swarm, and do your tries to locate the network. So this is the end of this brief introduction. Thank you very much. You will see all these aspects I described you in greater detail in the following days. I wish you good luck and try to enjoy seismology. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kostas. At this point, I would like to remind you to revisit the site of the summer school, and I will share my screen again. Kostas, if you can stop.
Yes, sorry. Okay.
Okay. Let me try to share my screen. Okay. At the webpage of the summer school, please go over to the preparation and materials tab next to the program. We have details there on what you can do. First of all, it will be a good idea to register to the OCEANS portal. It's free, it's for everyone. This is the link. And once you go there, you can find the Snac accelerator. So if you register to the portal and you go to accelerators, you can search here for earthquake, maybe. you can find the accelerator school study earthquakes. By clicking on summary, you can see in more details what I have told you in the beginning, the objectives of the whole initiative, and how it is connected with the responsible research and innovation initiative from the European Commission, which consists of 7 pillars and governance, public engagement, gender equality, science education, ethics, and open access. So in this table, you will see how this activity is connected with all these pillars. And by clicking on View Accelerator, or View Best Practice, if you wish, you can see the 4 main stages of the projects. So this is, let's say, an exam project, what you can do. We will describe you tomorrow exactly what you should include in each one of the phases. It's a design thinking approach. So in the first phase, you define the problem, and you want to engage the participants, so in this case our students, to fill the problem. And they find some resources, they see some videos, so they are engaged. Then in the Imagine tab, you see some examples here on how do you plan to solve the problem, what you're going to create so you can solve the problem. And in the Create tab, you start to create the what you have imagined in the previous tab. And you put some photographs, some videos about the creation. Of course, as I told you, in your case, since there are no students available right now, you can create lesson plans for the next year. And in the share button, you say how you plan to share all this information you have created with other students, with other schools, with the local society, etc. So this is the Snac accelerator in the portal. And I showed you before the communities that are there already. You can make another community if you want. But I'd rather suggest that you follow the community of your country. But if it is not here, you can make another community if you want. But most of the resources and I told you about, let me show you. You go to communities, you go search again for earthquake. You go to school study earthquakes. It says Greece here, but this is the main community, let's say. And in here, you can find most of the resources, which you can copy and use freely in your classes, and maybe also in the projects that you're going to create at the end of the seminar. So we see here, for example, that first resource is lesson plans. Our lesson plans, you can see for 14 lesson plans related to earthquakes. So if you click again here, you will be able to see the lesson plans and download them and modify them according to your needs. There are handbooks. There are, of course, in many languages. There is the framework, other presentation, how to find the epicenter, the sound of earth. We will talk about this on Wednesday. This is another resource measuring earthquakes in Turkey, for example. And so you browse here, the resources are really very good resources, amazing resources you can use, and you can get the inspiration you can use in your classes. Also, just to give you a hint for tomorrow, to study a bit, to be more ready for the projects and for the swarm application that also Mr. Bukuras told you before. If you go to the platform of the project, which is in this address, if you go to software, you can download the software from here. You should only download it from here, not from other sources, because here it is customized to Snac. If you download it from anywhere else, it will not work as it should. And there are here tutorials, video tutorials about using SWORD. So you want to see details, you can see these tutorials even before the presentation or tomorrow. But at any case, tomorrow it will be a very detailed presentation, and I believe that you will be able to use the platform after that. Now, we can have a quarter till 12, which is the next presentation. Maybe I would like to give the floor to you. Tell us if you want someone to take to talk to us, to say a few words of where are you from, what why have you joined the seminar, what do you have you seen so far, and what you plan, what you wanted to see till the end of the week. So anyone that would like to take the floor, please do. Before that, one moment, please. Let me tell you that we record every session. You are going to receive a link with a recording at the end of each day. You have to, if you want to download it, you have to go there and download it to your computer, because the link will not stay there for many days. So if you want to have it, you go there and you can download it. And I will also share all the presentations that you are going to see during the seminar. So is there anyone that would like to take the floor and say something, introduce himself, or ask something about the presentations till now? No one?
Okay, I can go first.
Yes, please.
I have a problem with the camera because I'm on the mobile. My name is Aphrodite Michailidi. I see I am the only Greek participant because I know you had the same seminar in Greek 2 weeks ago, but
Yes.
I couldn't join there. So I said, this is my chance. I am a computer science teacher in upper secondary education. And currently I work in a laboratory center where we have students from vocational school, from many different mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, electronic engineers. So I would like to know how I can get them to do hands-on and practical stuff related to this project based on their specialty. That's why I joined this seminar.
Okay, thanks a lot, Aphrodite. I believe that what you're going to see is going to help you a lot in doing practical things in the class. We also have very nice and step-by-step guides. I don't know if you have seen already our video in YouTube, and we have a YouTube channel with many guides and a specific step-by-step guide which for Swarm, which is very simple. It's made especially for teachers and students. So it is on the platform. Kostas Boukuras will show you exactly where it is. And I believe it's a very good step-by-step approach to the use of Swarm, which is it seems complicated at the beginning, but it's quite easy once you get the hang of it. It will be very easy, as you will see, to import the information from the established schools seismographs and analyze the waveforms, find the P and the S waves, as Kostas showed us before. So welcome. I'm very glad that you joined this seminar. Is there anyone else from our international friends that would like to say something? I don't see a lot of, maybe it's too early. I hope that we'll have more interactivity later in the seminar. I don't know, Kostas, maybe you would like to add something before we end this first introductory session?
I'd say that everyone get acquainted to the material of the web page and try to download the Swarm firstly. Read the PDF accompanying the material, and as long as they have the codes for the web page, to visit our map with the earthquakes, and try first to download an earthquake that they like, and follow the guide at the website, so they can try to, let me share the screen. One moment. So you can, sorry, 1 second. So you can download the Swarm file from here, okay? See the video tutorial, it's very analytic, and then you can go to data download at the Snac automatic alerts link. There you have a selection of the latest earthquakes. You can click on an earthquake and you can download the data, providing you have the access. Also, it's worth noticing that you can also search our seismogram database for the same earthquake and see which other network station is interesting to you. And just to say at this point that in order to get data, the easiest way is this, to just click on the circle you want and download the data. There's another way, as I told you before, to get the data through this data builder, but this requires to set up a VPN network in your computer, which it is detailed in our instructions. But I think for the scope of this summer school, it's much more easier to just download the data from this web page and use them as it is. Here also you can see a school list of our stations. And as I told you in the beginning, the map is interactive. You can click on a station and view its real-time information. I don't know if you have any question to ask. I'd be glad to answer them, to give you some insight in the scope of this summer school. Okay, the basic things that is to familiarize yourself with the use of the swarm the following days, and to be able to download and process the data from this website. And as Grigoris told you, it's important to use the swarm located here and not the swarm of the latest version, because each swarm has differences, and all this material is linked to this specific version of swarm. Okay. I don't know, Grigoris, if you have something more to add.
Okay, thank you, Kostas. So, are there any comments, questions for this part? We have 4 minutes till the end of this session. No? Okay, then we can proceed to our next session, which is an overview of how you can combine the seismology in the school with STEM curriculum. So let me share my screen. So one moment. So This presentation is called Identifying Links to the STEM Curriculum. It's made by Dr. Sophocles Sotiriou and me from Ελληνική Γερμανική Αγωγή. We will start by saying why we selected this theme. We selected this theme because earthquakes is a natural phenomenon with significant social impact, as you all know. The science around earthquakes and demonstrates how science can be related to everyday life, because in some countries like Greece, for example, have earthquakes almost every day, not destructive one, but a lot of earthquakes, and sometimes they have very big impact on everyday life. And the science around earthquakes is multidisciplinary. It offers opportunities for learning in many subjects, as you know, math, geography, physics, of course, geology. So a lot of subjects can be taught through the earthquakes. As I told you, the Snac project is a continuation of the oldest of the older school study earthquake project, and what it the innovation of Snac is that we wanted to force cooperations between schools and to simulate a scientific network. That's why we installed seismographs, as Kostas showed you before, from the Azores Island till East Turkey, till also Israel. So we installed the seismographs in schools so that students can see them, parents can see them, teachers can see them, and use them. And we wanted to involve in this not only school, but also research institutions such as the Geodynamics Institute in Greece, or the association in Bulgaria, or the university in Cyprus and Turkey, and the Città della Scienza in Italy. These are very good examples of how research institutions can work together with schools, talk to their language, not a very strict scientific language, but a language that students and teachers can understand. And we wanted to develop a research infrastructure, the network of seismographs that can be used by anyone. And we also will show you before, afterwards, that we had students create their own seismometers. They can analyze data, they can estimate the size and the epicenter of an earthquake. They can develop innovative applications, and they can publish their work to scientific student scientific magazines. We'll show you how we did all this in slides, a few slides later. So through the Snac project, we have created many educational scenarios and materials. We have upgraded some of the materials of the older project, created new ones. We have created short and long-term STEM projects. You can find all this in the resources I showed you before. We have created contests and challenges for the students and teachers, like I would say hackathons or hackquakes, as we name them. We'll show you this also later. And through all these activities and through the student projects, we try to develop key competencies for teachers and for students also, such as problem solving, inquiry learning, geospatial thinking, computational thinking, and cooperation and creativity. As we showed you before, Constance, the network spans mainly in Southeast Europe. We have almost 60 stations in Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Italy, Cyprus, of course, and one station in the Azores Island, which belongs to Portugal, and also one station in Israel. So we see that we have there's a variety of activities that every school can implement. For example, I know that for example, in Greece, in the second, in the 8th grade, they are talking about waves in physics. So the teacher can learn about the seismic waves and explain to students how they work, what is their impact in the earth and the buildings of humans. Their speed, you see that they come in different speeds, and a lot of examples you can find also in the resources in Osos, as I told you before. Another example here is how the network recorded an earthquake of 4.4 Richters in the Sporades Islands in Greece. So you can see the different seismograms that our seismographs recorded. You can see that depending on the distance of the seismograph from the epicenter, the waves are much different. So you can explain to students, why this happens. You will see all this in detail tomorrow, so don't worry about it now. Another example, you can see the difference of the waves depending on the event. So, for example, you see that this is a big earthquake in Fiji Islands, but it's very deep earthquake in 563 kilometers. You see how the wave is. But if it is a nuclear test, the wave is much different. You see a big boom here and small waves here. So you can explain to students why this happens. Through the implementation of the lessons, since as you will see, all the software is of course digital, students learn how to use a personal computer or a tablet, and how to import waves, seismic waves from the network, and so they get much acquainted with using software to solve problems. and use specific software such as the ones that Kostas showed you before. You can see other methods to calculate the P and the S waves. So there's really many things that students can learn. For example, you can use Google Earth and Google Maps to calculate the distance from the epicenter to the specific seismograph, and then you can go and locate the recording of the earthquake here in our network. We're going to show you how you can do that, and you can see, for example, you can teach the geography here and geology through all the data that you will gather from our network. You will see more details about this tomorrow. Another example, another innovative project that you will see on Wednesday is how to convert seismic waves into sound, into music, so you can listen to the sound of the Earth, of the planet. We have a specific session about this, and you will see details, step-by-step details, how you can do that, and you will see some examples from Turkey. As I told you before, it's here for the last 3 years in Greece. We have a very big contest for all Greek schools. It's called Make Your Own Seismograph Contest. We have many applications, and students are instructed to create seismographs. They read the theory, they read how it works, and they try with simple tools to create their own seismographs. And then what we have seen here is that there are a lot of there's a lot of different projects, different materials used, and a variety of ideas by students. And it was really hard. This year we have a committee that selects the 10 best projects, which is very difficult. And these 10 projects, these 10 schools, let's say these 10 groups of students with their teacher are invited in Athens at an event each year, and they present their seismographs. This event is taking a lot of publicity. It has been hosted in the Athens Science Festival, and a lot of we have managed to have a lot of support from the even from politicians. The President of Democracy had the whole contest under its auspices, and also the current Minister of Education is really supporting this activity. And this year we will also continue for the 4th consecutive year to receive applications for this activity. So this is also a very nice idea for you to do in your own country. Another idea is the Hackwake. The Hackwake is was an event we did for the first time this year, before the lockdown, of course. In 2019, sorry. So we wanted students from secondary school that learn how to code. We showed them that there is, if you see here, there is a small delay. There's a delay between the P waves, which are smaller waves and do not create any problems, with the S waves, which are the waves that are coming at the second phase and are the ones that are creating all the disasters. So there are some seconds here where, of course, it's very difficult for humans to do something in these seconds, but we can create alert systems, create warnings for systems. So, for example, the power can be cut, so we don't have any other disaster more than the earthquake is creating on its own. So maybe some elevators can be unstuck, etc. So these seconds, which are maybe 2 to 5, 6 seconds, are very important. And what we try to do is to show to students, to teachers and to students, that they can create a Python program and create alerts. And there was an event with called Hackweek, where 15 teachers from Greece came and learned how to code this and transfer this to their students also. For all of this, the resources are in the OSOS community I showed you before, in the school study earthquakes. So you can find details there. As I told you, our focus in Snac was also to cooperate with local stakeholders, create information days for parents and activities to inform citizens. So in each installation of a new seismograph in schools, we try to have an event, not just go there and install it, but especially Dr. Koulias and Dr. Soteriou were going to the schools, and the local headmaster, school head created an info day, inviting local society members from the ministry, from the municipalities, and parents, of course, of students to inform them about the seismographs and about earthquakes in general. Also, you see here some actions from the fire department and showing first aid support, etc. So we had a lot of these activities in all countries, and we wanted to, as we told you, to simulate the whole scientific process. So we had a network, and then we wanted to make students publish their projects in a scientific way. So we created this open schools journal. You can see in this link, which is available for all the students in all over Europe. And students can submit their articles, and they receive comments from reviewers and proposals to improve them. So, and the papers that are selected are published 4 times during the school year. So, as Kostas showed you before, the new project, Snac, uses Raspberry Seik seismographs. Raspberry Seik, if you Google it, you will find the website is a commercial site where everyone can buy a seismograph. And they have, you see how many, the network of Raspberry Seiks around the world. So if you join this network, if you join our network, you also join, you can use this network and be part of this huge worldwide network of seismographs. And if you, schools in case of Snac, got the seismograph for free because it was funded by the European Commission during the project. But any school can, if they want to be involved with seismology and have a seismograph, they can buy a seismograph from here, and then they can get guidelines from us on how to connect it to our network. And we see that then you can be part of a worldwide network of seismographs. And I think it's something very impressive for the students, the teachers, and the parents of your school. As I told you, in the resources of the School Study Earthquakes community, you will find a lot of educational material with many details, many guides in PDF or in video, and it's a material that you can use for free. Also, just not to create any misunderstandings, the network, the data of the network is free for everyone to use, and a school can be part of the network regardless if it has a seismograph or not. I see here that more participants are coming. We have 8 minutes now in the next presentation. I don't know if you would like to ask something, say something. Would like to welcome my colleagues, Dr. Marios Papagrippidou and Ivoni Pavlou from the University of Cyprus, Department of Education. You can see Marios has already opened his camera. And,
hey everyone.
And Ivoni. Nice to see you again. I don't see any comments or any questions from our participants. If you are ready, Marios, we can start with your presentation so we can finish earlier. So please take the floor.
Yes, thank you, Gregory. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, I can do it because quite sometimes you need to be the host or co-host to do it. But can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Great. One sec. And I would like to welcome you to this virtual summer school. It's a great pleasure to see people from different countries participating in this training session we organized for you. Thank you, Gregory, for the coordination and the organization of this virtual summer school. And we are here, partners from the University of Cyprus, together, myself and Vivoni Pavlou, my colleague. And in our presentation, we'll try to share with you some of the findings that relate to students learning after participating in engaging activities in the context of seismology that all have been designed and implemented during the time span of the Snac project. So to begin with, here are the different partner organizations participating in our project. Maybe there was a reference in the beginning of the presentations, but we are 6 partner institutions from Cyprus, 2 from Greece, 1 from Bulgaria, 1 from Italy, and 1 from Turkey. And we collaborated for the completion of all the tasks that have been designed and in the context of the project proposal of this project, European funded research project. And we, as University of Cyprus, we are the leaders of the evaluation package. So our work has had to do with the design of the various data collection instruments, the methodology of how to use these data collection instruments in terms of evaluating the learning outcomes. So to begin with, in our project, we had 3 different types of participation, 3 levels of participation. These were the schools, the teachers, and the students. And overall, from all the participating countries, as you can see in this slide, we managed to engage 94 schools, 196 teachers, and 2,229 students. In doing this, we organized several teacher training events in all participating countries, so as to engage the teachers, the local teachers, into the activities that relate to seismology, to the idea of open schooling, and we offered them guidance on how to design and implement activities with their students, how to use the data evaluation instruments, and of course, the coordinators from each country were in close collaboration with the schools and the teachers. So before proceeding to presenting outcomes in terms of students, it would be good to just share with you some demographic data of the Snac teachers. So we had a well-balanced, let's say, of males and females. Females were a bit more than males, which is a good thing if we think an issue that relates to that there is a sex dominance in terms of sex dominance in the sciences, more males than females. So in our case, we managed to gauge more females than males. the majority of the participants were not familiar with seismology and the projects in the project that we also undertook previous to the Snac project. There was a previous project, the school study earthquakes project that finished, and then the Snac was a continuation. So the majority of the participants were newcomers. And also a good thing was that we managed to engage teachers from different disciplines, and this makes good sense as we wanted to have teachers from different disciplines working in close collaboration in school, so as to approach the seismology activities in an integrated manner under the umbrella of STEAM education. So we succeeded on engaging teachers from different disciplines. Of course, the majority had a physics background and science background in terms of the primary schools, but it was a good thing that we had teachers from mathematics, from geography, from environmental sciences, even computer sciences, and so on. And during the training events, the feedback received from the teachers was that they found what we prepared and offered them as engaging and beneficial, and they appreciated what we engaged them with, I mean, the learning activities. So we wanted to make sure that teachers will receive adequate guidance and support in terms of how to implement and design and implement projects with their students as a means to affect their students' learning outcomes in terms of conceptual understanding, concepts that relate to seismology, but also changing their attitudes towards sciences, towards civic responsibility, and so on. So in order to evaluate the impact of our approach, of our teaching and learning approach in the context of the Snac project, we designed data evaluation instruments for the three main stakeholders: the students, the teachers, and the school units. And for each of these stakeholders, we defined evaluation indicators so as to get to know and stay on track on what we would like to achieve in terms of learning. And here are the students' evaluation indicators. Those were 4. I'm going to present data findings, and data, of course, that relate to each of these indicators. And also here you can see the means of data collection, where all this data came from in order to collect them, then analyze them, and reach to conclusions. So I'll start with the first indicator. What is the evidence whether we manage to enhance students' problem-solving competence and interdisciplinary thinking? And before proceeding on presenting the findings, it's important to present in brief the 2 terms: problem-solving competence. So when we are referring to this term, we are referring to students' ability to identify problems or issues, of course, in the context of seismology, and their ability to employ effective processes for investigating the problem and reaching possible solutions. So this relates to the problem-solving concept. And interdisciplinary thinking relates to students' ability to draw knowledge from different scientific fields as a means to integrate all these different learning stances while trying to solve a problem. And there is enough evidence, as you will see right after when presenting the findings, that we managed to help the students through the teachers. Of course, the teachers was the linchpin. Teachers are the key actors in all this. So the teachers succeeded on promoting students' interdisciplinary thinking and problem-solving competences. And here is the analysis. Here are the findings in terms of the different types of projects that students were engaged with during working with teachers. And through each of these different types of projects, we were able to extract evidence and to document whether students' problem-solving competence and interdisciplinary thinking have been enhanced or not. So as you can see in this slide, the types of projects that the students engaged with were there were three different types of projects. The majority were investigation of seismic parameters, and followed by the development of a seismograph and designing of materials for raising awareness. I'm going to present data that relates to each of these different types of projects right after. So I'm going to present representative examples from students, from schools' reports, from teachers' reports of what they did with their students, as a means to illustrate how this interdisciplinary thinking looks like while designing and implementing the activity. So this is an example from a school in Greece, in Thessaloniki, 8th graders, and there was only one physics teacher. As you will see in the next projects, there were more teachers involved from different disciplines, and this makes sense in terms of focusing on the interdisciplinarity approach. So these students with their teachers, in the context of participating in the making your own seismograph, they started by making an informative poster about earthquakes, and they focused on defining and presenting the safety measures of what humans can do before experiencing an earthquake. So what to do in order to be ready, what to do during experiencing an earthquake, and what an individual should do right after an earthquake. So they made this informative poster to accompany it with their seismograph, and then they proceeded on designing their project. So this is an extract from their report, and they referred to the theoretical background and the research they made in order to get to know how the history behind the earthquakes and the history behind earthquakes understanding, what was conceived as an earthquake in the past, what are the origins of the earthquakes, and how earthquakes were measured. So they also went through the evolution of seismology and seismographs. And after studying and making a background study, they proceeded on constructing a seismograph using Lego Mindstorms. And as you can see here, they refer to the design thinking framework. I'm going to show you right after. They followed the four phases of the design thinking framework in completing their project. And in doing so, they started with the problem, they researched the problem, and then they proceeded on making initial drawings of their seismograph. Then they started creating, making use of materials, and they used Lego in this, in their attempts in creating the base of the seismograph. Here is how their seismograph looked like. They used a lever that they adjusted it in order to change the length of the string. And as you can see, they attach a marker, so the marker could making record of the type of the wave that simulated an earthquake. So this is a representative example from this school. And here's another representative example from Karditsa, again from a Greek school. This specific school had a tradition in participating in such a contest. They participated in the previous contest in the context of the previous project I mentioned earlier. So because teachers and students were familiar with this contest, they showed great interest in participating again. So more teachers, as you can see here, collaborated together, physics teachers, mathematics teachers, engineering teacher in accomplishing this challenging task. And the students were from 10th grade. Actually, here are the pictures while they were doing their project, but let me just go to their report. It is nice to see what students at this age were able to do, of course, with the guidance of their teachers. Just to make sure, are you looking at the report now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Nicole, thank you. So all students were their teachers when they participated in this project context. We asked them to prepare a report so as to illustrate the steps they followed, the methodology followed, use pictures, videos, any types of materials so as to present their work. So this is their report. Here they also mentioned the collaborations they had with, and it's important to see such kind of information because the idea of the Snac project in conjunction with the OSOS project is that we would like to open the gateways of schools to the local communities and bring stakeholders from the community in the schools so as to collaborate and exchange their expertise with the students and the teachers, and also and vice versa, and getting all the learning outcomes that are produced in the context of the activities that the students and the teachers have been doing, and take them outside from school so as to inform the local community and affect the local community. So this is the basic idea of the open schooling approach. And as we can see here, this school succeeded on collaborating with different stakeholders. Here is the original team, the first team that participated in the first competition. And they also created a logo for their project. So this is the 2018 team, and here is the new team, the 2020 team. And So they proceeded in describing what they did, what their project was about. So they referring that they did an extensive internet research, and they came up with the idea from the OWASP fairy tale, The Earth Dances. So they decided to build the very first seismograph, which was created in 132 AD by Zhang Heng in China. So they found pictures of this earthquake seismograph and how it functions. So this is the drawings, and they make a small report. So the first seismograph was made in China. It was a system with a bronze dragon. So there were dragons and frogs around a large container. When an earthquake struck, an internal pendulum activated a switch. A ball fell out of the dragon's mouth and fell into the frog, causing a loud sound. Depending on the direction of the ball, people understood the direction of the epicenter. So this was the description they found from the internet, and they would like to replicate this type of seismograph with regard to their project. So they began with the construction process. They searched many sites for the designs of this seismograph, but what they found was impossible to build. So they decided to redesign its parts from scratch. The main body would be in the form of a cage, which would have 8 railings, 4 for the points on the horizons and 4 for the points between them. For the mechanism, we tend to some pendulum form, which would hit some mechanical switches. We design its parts on paper, thus making the patterns on pieces. Then we place them on a piece of parchment paper, drew them, cut them out, and assemble them. So they are describing the process they followed. So here, it appears that the students are engaging in a STEAM-oriented activity, given that they are using principles and science concepts from seismology, from earth sciences, and now they are engaging in the engineering process of how to construct this seismograph. So they made drawings. They found drawings, the drawings of the original seismograph, and they tried to replicate it. So they tried several solutions that they didn't work, so they had to reject them, and then they had to come up with new ideas and new solutions. So all these are steps related to the engineering design process. So they came up, they say, with the solution of lasers and photoresistors for the pendulum. We choose a ping pong ball that we filled with thermosilicon to gain weight. We installed the lasers and sensors, connected the circuit together with Arduino Uno, and we programmed. So here how it looked. This is the ping pong ball that was hanging, and just to make it act as a pendulum. And they used an Arduino Uno and accelerometer for making the recordings. And of course, they say that after completing this model, they collaborated with the University of Thessaly. We gave them the original patterns, and with the help of AutoCAD, they turned them into a digital site. And they have a video of the whole process. I'll just go very briefly just to see. It's a good thing to give the merit to that team. So that the students will present their work, and they are describing what they did, the process they followed. So this is what mainly I showed you before from their report. And also it's important to see that for the purposes of presenting their work, they proceeded on preparing this video that they uploaded in YouTube, so as to make it available in public and see what they've been doing. So to go back to my presentation now. And so I presented two representative examples from two different schools from Greece, that their projects were clustered in the making your own seismograph type of projects. And it's also important to let you know, as Gregory presented earlier, that all these students' projects were uploaded in the OSOS portal. So this is the OSOS website, and another project that relates to, let's say that Snac project was a sister project to this major project, Open Schools for Open Societies. So here the students, this is another example of how they use the portal to present their work. So they are following the 4 steps of the design thinking framework, as I said earlier: the feel, imagine, create, share. So in feel, they are presenting the type of problem they are encountering. Then in the imagine, they are presenting their ideas for possible solutions of how to solve the problem. And then in the create phase, they are presenting what they did in order to make transform their ideas into concrete materials and see whether they can solve the problem. So here are screenshots from what they did in terms of programming their seismograph. And so this seismograph look like this, just to show you the video. So again, there's a marker, there's a touch, and it is controlled by this Lego apparatus, of course, with the programming behind all these functions. And this is work that derive from elementary school students, of course, with the help of their elementary school teacher. So another great example of how the students who participated in our project benefited from various perspectives, from learning in terms of science, in terms of engineering, in terms of mathematics, in terms of technology. They've been using technology in order to solve their problem, and so on. So to go back to the other types of school projects that have been implemented, and just to reiterate, I'm presenting these projects as a means to illustrate how the students with their teachers were involved in problem-solving challenges, and how and whether their interdisciplinary thinking was promoted. So it is evident from what I've presented so far that during working with the seismograph, their both problem-solving competence and interdisciplinary thinking have been developed. Also, in investigation of seismic parameters, which was the type of projects with the more frequent appearance in the showcase of the projects. Here is an example from a school in Cyprus. So we had a geography and the humanities history teachers collaborating with their students, 12 to 14-year-olds, and also they collaborate with university instructors in helping them completing their tasks. So the students focused their project focused on several concepts that relate to earthquakes. So they studied plate tectonic theory, the different layers of Earth, causes of planets' movement, the danger areas of volcanic and earthquake activity around the world, and how different countries at different levels of development are able to plan, predict, and manage these hazards. So it was more content-based approach. And here are the outcomes in terms of students' work. They prepared posters. Each group of students choose a different topic after what they've been reading and studying and doing with their teachers, and they prepared these posters as a means to inform the rest of the school students, their teachers, and of course they presented all these posters in their local community. They put them on display, and it was open for the public to come and visit and get to know what they've been doing. Now I'll present examples from the designing of materials for raising. Sorry. Does someone want to ask something? Because I've heard maybe someone open his or her mic. Shall I proceed? Does someone wants to say something, ask something? I'm hearing to sound from someone, so maybe it was by mistake. So I'll proceed in presenting the third type of project, the designing of materials for raising awareness. So this is work derived from a local school in Cyprus. We had at the 9th grade, and they collaborated with the civil protection organization, the seismologists, and researchers. And the students and teachers developed a project to identify the knowledge and awareness of students and parents of their school regarding earthquakes. So they made a survey to get to know what the students at their school and also the parents of the students, whether they are aware of aspects of seismology and issues that relate to earthquakes. So they developed and administered a questionnaire to the students and the parents. They collected the data, they analyzed the data, and they developed various actions within the school in order to increase the awareness and knowledge regarding earthquakes, because their findings were that the knowledge of both students and parents was very limited. So they, for their fellow peers, the students at the school, they created a game in order to enhance their knowledge of different concepts that relate to earthquakes. So it was a fun game to play. It was like choosing something in random and played, and it was a challenge so as to finish this this game. So while solving several tasks, you'll get to know things that relate to earthquakes. They also designed. They configured the Edmodo digital platform so as to post their earthquakes alerts whenever a local earthquake was occurred. So they were sending earthquake alerts to their fellow students and parents just to raise their awareness. And here is an example, as you can see here. Of course, it is in Greek, and they are referring to an earthquake occurred in Turkey, and they provided also the recording. They also designed an informative poster that related to earthquakes, measures, and actions. And they also made a presentation, some slides, and they presented their work to the school students so as to help them increase their awareness and also their understandings of what earthquakes are, how they are caused, what to do in order to protect ourselves, and so on. So their project continued with the use of the Snac digital platform that they used in order to spot from the earthquakes showcase instances of local earthquakes and so on. So they, after all these actions they performed as a means to increase the awareness and the understanding of students and parents, they again administered the same questionnaire, and they collected data so as to see whether they managed to affect and increase the awareness and so on. And their main results showcased an increase of both knowledge and awareness to both groups as a result of their actions, with the students having a higher increase of knowledge in relation compared to the parents. And of course, they presented their work at the school, and also they participated in a local contest, and they published their findings in a school's newspaper. So that's all in terms of the first indicator, enhancement of problem solving, competence, and interdisciplinary thinking. And I'm just looking at the time, maybe, I don't know, Gregory, we have time to proceed because maybe I get more time in presenting all this.
Yes, how much time do you think you need?
I have evidence from the rest of the indicators. I can go very quickly, maybe another 5 minutes.
Yes, okay, yes, please,
okay?
please. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Thanks. So in terms of students' ability to code, record, and analyze data with the offered hardware, sensors, and software tools. Of course, all these you will have the chance to look at them during the next sessions. Here we see that the level of proficiency of the activities carried out in each of these were moderate for all countries, and moderate means that students could perform basic analysis concerning seismic parameters, and here are the aspects of this what they could do. Of course, there were some that reported too high, as you can see here, but they were not so many. In terms of whether students' participation in these earthquakes activities had a positive impact on their attitudes towards STEM disciplines, we used a questionnaire, my science classes, as this is the questionnaire. It was a Likert scale, and we administered to the students. So here are the raw scores, and you can see that in all countries there was an increase in their mean score, indicating that students move to more positive stances after their participation in the projects in terms of appreciation of STEM. And we did a significance test to see whether this difference was significant, significant, and of course it was significant. So we attribute these findings to the open schooling approach that has been implemented and during the that has been followed during implementing all these different types of activities. And of course, for each of the countries that we ran the test, we've seen that it was statistically significant in the case of Turkey, Greece, and Cyprus. And in terms of whether what's been doing affected students' critical thinking, understanding of civic responsibility, again, we used pre-post questionnaires, and here are the results. And as you can see, again, we had significant the changes were significant, indicating that we succeeded on affecting students' connection to community, to civic awareness, and civic efficacy. And of course, we had we checked for pre and post in terms for each of the countries, and we had the results here. So I need to finish before going. Before finishing, I would like just to say very briefly that all these great achievements and all these positive results were accomplished because the schools changed their approach, changed their culture, and as a result of adopting the open the OSOS approach, the open schooling approach. So we've seen that they changed their professional development because they gave the opportunity to their teachers to work more independently and to participate in teacher training events, and also the school itself promoted the idea of designing and implementing interdisciplinary activities. So just to finish, as I already mentioned, the Open Schools for Open Societies framework has been proven as beneficial for schools because it helped them to change their culture, it helped them become happy and make them more open, more effective, and more efficient in co-designing, co-constructing, and co-creating materials for their students and also for the local communities. And all this facilitated the idea of this, and of course, enhanced the interdisciplinary learning, the cross-curriculum collaboration, and the overall STEAM approach. And it is important to demonstrate that if we succeed in transforming schools into innovative ecosystems, and that in a way that they feel that like they can share all the science learning that it is promoted during all these nice works of teachers with their students, all this can have a positive impact on the development of responsible citizenship to all engaged stakeholders. So that's all. Thank you for listening to me. Sorry for getting a few more minutes from your time. And if you have any questions, if you would like to ask anything at this point, I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, you'll have the opportunity to discuss more of all this that I presented during the following sessions.
Thanks a lot, Mari. It was really amazing presentation showing the results of our work. As I told in the beginning of the seminar, this is a work in progress. We are still working, you are still working on this deliverable. And of course, we have seen all the data, and we are very happy with the impact that the project had on students, teachers, and schools, and the societies around them. Please share this presentation with me, and I will share it with all the participants, as we will do for every presentation during the seminar. So,
and of course, more in detail will appear in the report that after finishing it, we will publish it in the project website. So
yes,
we will share with the participants the link, and they can come back maybe by the end of October when we have everything ready and published there.
Yes, of course. I have shown in the beginning where they can find the intellectual outputs of the project. So if there are no other questions, I can just one moment, give me one moment to share my screen so that we can see tomorrow's program. So tomorrow we're going to be more a more practical presentation, let's say. We're going to see in detail the swarm application and how you can use the data coming from the Snac platform. And we're going also to see OSOS and the communities in OSOS in more detail, and also how to create a project and in detail. And we speak more about what we expect to see on Friday from your projects. I would like to thank all of you for joining today, our first day. There are a lot of more registrations, so hopefully we will see them tomorrow also. And I don't know, any comments, any suggestion, remarks from anyone? Okay, so as I told you, we record the sessions. We're going to send you a link with the recording, and also the presentations you're going to receive by email later today. Thank you all one more time, and hope to see you tomorrow at the same time, the same link. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.